We're just adding value to corn, something that America has done forever as farmers. You know, my family came here to America to farm in 1710, and we added value by walking the grain off, converting it to poultry, dairy, or beef. And because of the mega corporations, Big Hog and EPA and other concerns, it's not as easily for family farmers to do that anymore. And so instead of walking it off, we drive it off. But we're doing the same thing. We're adding value to the local crop, keeping it in the local community. All the ethanol industry is saying is give us the option. We can produce fuel more efficiently, cheaper. $5 corn will give you $50 a barrel oil, and I don't think the marketplace is prepared for that. You can't get the gas and the oil out of the Balkans for that. Right now it's, what, $105 a barrel? So if ethanol is competing, you can drive the price of oil and consequently the consumer's fuel cost down. But the problem is that's what big oil sees, and so they're spending billions to protect their market, and it's all about market share. Even in last year, the worst drought we've had in years and years, there was plenty of corn to go around. This year, we produced a record crop. Some throw out the figure of 42% of the corn is used. You have to remember, all we do is pull out the starch. All the rest of the nutrients that are there remain in the DDG, and it goes back into livestock feed, it goes back to cattle, pork, it goes back into poultry, egg production. And so to say that we use 42% of it up like it evaporates, no, we're just pulling the starch out, making ethanol out of it, converting it to sugars, and the rest of it goes back into another use. We also pull out the corn oil from the syrup in the starch, and that goes into the fuel biodiesel industry. And in Galva now, in one of our 4 plants, we're going to be pulling out zine, which is used for medicinal purposes, coating pills. It's used to hold your chewing gum together or cover your M&Ms and so forth. So there's a lot of uses for corn, and ethanol is just what I would say is in early stages of developing those uses. I get a kick out of watching somebody pull into a gas station and put in a can of heat in the wintertime to take moisture out of their gas, because that's what ethanol does. It takes the moisture out of your gas. And some people argue, well, it draws moisture. And I saw a demonstration put on by Richard Childress of the NASCAR fame, and he said, before we raced with ethanol, we were concerned about it attracting moisture, and moisture doesn't work in a race, not if you want to win it. And so he had a volume, a beaker, about 6 inches wide and about 12 inches tall, and a third of it had water in it. The other third had ethanol in it. And he said, now this is what we were concerned about. He shook it twice and the water disappeared. That's what ethanol does. And so they've got 5 million miles on their race car. They can find nothing but good benefits from it. Henry Ford thought that ethanol and soybean oil would be useful in making autos and so forth. But the problem with ethanol is it's got to compete and sell into its competition. And that's very difficult. Oil is putting in its gasoline for their octane, benzene, toluene, and xylene. And that's very harmful, and it's a carcinogenic. And we have people, like when I was in school, I went to a one-room school. I hardly knew anybody that had asthma. I never knew anybody. And some of these childhood diseases, and people keep saying, where are they coming from? Where are they coming from? It's documented they're coming from the fuel we use. The catalytic converter is supposed to clean it up. But when it's sitting at a stop sign or in front of a school or not going to full speed at high energy, that benzene is going right into the air. You can't see it, you can't smell it, and you could have this room filled full of smoke and it wouldn't be as harmful as that benzene is. And so the oil industry's putting that in. We've got the clean air aspects of it. We've got the energy independence aspects of it. And yet oil is a product is of benzene and toluene and xylene, and ethanol is not. And before ethanol came in, our rural communities were drying up. They were losing their youth. They were losing their small towns. The youth are coming back. They're coming back to the farms, and they're coming back into the small towns. That's what we want.